I'm Bill S. Preston, Esquire.
And I'm Ted Theodore Logan.
And we're Wild Stallions!
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a movie that everyone has heard of, yet nobody has seen. Stuck in limbo between being a mainstream success and a cult classic, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure contradicts itself as a time capsule and a timeless hit both at once. What's mostly disregarded as a teen comedy film, what Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure has going on symbolically and creatively is actually pretty interesting, and there's many things that people miss on the first watch. So without further ado,
let's reach out and touch someone.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is a film produced under MGM Studios and released in 1989. Bill and Ted are our titular characters, Bill played by a young Alex Winter and Ted a young Keanu Reeves, and they're introduced to us by Rufus, played by the late George Carlin. Bill and Ted are two high school best friends with a dream of starting their band.
Excellent!
The pair are about to fail their history class, and if that happens, Ted's father will send Ted to military school. Hope is seen when they are told to complete a history report to save their grades. So they are aided by Rufus, a time traveler from the far future. Rufus provides Bill and Ted with a time-traveling phone booth, which they use to go back in time and bring historical figures to the present to help them with their history report. Bill and Ted are both protagonists. What makes this film so interesting is that it actually doesn't have a singular character as its antagonist. While you can count Ted's father being some form of an antagonist, this being because of him actively trying to stop Ted from forming his and Bill's band, he isn't a consistent obstacle throughout the course of the film. The real obstacle Bill and Ted have to deal with is a race against the clock, or trying to complete a task before time runs out, that being their history report. And they run into challenges along the way, like being chased by medieval soldiers or the phone booth temporarily breaking. This makes the movie narrative digestible and easy to understand. Without a real one-note villain or antagonist, the plot entirely focuses on Bill and Ted and their interactions with the historical figures and with each other, giving more time to focus on each other and build relationships with each character they interact with, allowing the audience to really understand how Bill and Ted act as characters. Starting with Bill and Ted's unique use of language and repeated phrases, the iconic phrase, "Be excellent to each other," said by Bill, followed by "Party on, dudes" from Ted, is repeated throughout the film by other characters, the two phrases only being said by Bill and Ted themselves once.
Be excellent to each other.
Party on, dude.
Party on, dude.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
Even a balloon with the phrase "Party on, dude" written on it can be seen in the background in Ted's younger brother's room. The society in which Rufus comes from is a society built upon the utopian ideas and music created by the band Wild Stallions. He explains to Bill and Ted at the end of the movie that their music is destined to bring the universe into total harmony, thus motivating Rufus to help Bill and Ted. The future depended on the music provided by Bill and Ted, and their separation would not bring about this destiny. In one scene, Bill and Ted accidentally dial a number on their phone booth that brings them into the future, and they meet the important floating men. And this is where Bill and Ted relay their message to the people of the future.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes!
Be excellent to each other and "Party on, dudes" is intended to be a lighthearted philosophy about being compassionate to others and living life to the fullest, an idea frequently promoted in the future that Rufus comes from, hence why it is repeated by Rufus and other objects from the future.
We're history.
It not only foreshadows Bill and Ted's purpose in the universe, but it acts as a message to the audience. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is fairly standard when it comes to their camera work and angles, but it has a lot of shots and transitions that definitely make it a classic and adds a bit of that 80s charm. Most notably, the slider transitions, which were popularized by the Star Wars saga in the 70s. Many other films used these transitions during the time, and Bill and Ted aren't an exception to this. They even battle each other with swords and directly reference Star Wars, so you can see the inspiration.
I'm Darth Ted.
Well, I'm Luke Bill, and you're not my father.
However, the most creative slider transition is in the scene where Bill and Ted land from the sky at the Circle K and talk to their past selves for the second time. Or is it the first time?
69, dudes!
The slider being in sync with Bill and Ted opening the phone booth door is a very creative touch, and it gives the scene a very fun feeling to it. And did you know, the introduction scene for Bill and Ted is very similar to Marty McFly's from Back to the Future? Both scenes involve guitars, smoking speakers, a cuckoo clock, and the main characters being late for school.
Uh-oh, we're late. For what? School, dude! I'm late for school!
Whether this is intentional or unintentional is an interesting parallel. Now, I might be a little bit biased, but this is a great film. It's a blast from the past, and it's absolutely memorable. Bill and Ted are such endearing characters, and it's definitely a laugh-out-loud, ridiculous, yet charming teen romp that still holds up today. And Bill and Ted definitely have their place in pop culture and the world's hearts. I recommend it to anyone who hasn't seen it. It's wholesome, insanely funny, and endlessly quotable.
Excellent!
Bill and Ted teach us about simplicity and what it means to truly party on. This is Blue Price Williams in Mr. Cortelli's second period theater class, and thank you for watching. And don't forget to be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.